The- It's the king.
Hey, this is Mike Holmes here with Repair King. Am going to go over a program today that can help out all of us contractors, and it is called Claim Scope. And so I'm going to bring in Curtis Kincaid, the owner here, to see if he can help us out and explain what his software is. Hey, Curtis, how you doing?
Hey, good to meet you with you, Mike.
Hey, good to meet you. We had some behind the scenes issues, a whole bunch of you guys don't know what it takes to get this thing to you. Simple as it is, there's always some kind of work, right? Seems like it. But, yeah, so talk about, what you got going on. Who are you? What are you doing?
Yeah,
Why did
sure. Appreciate the time. My name is Curtis Kincaid. I'm an old adjuster that got out of the industry about 5 years, created a company called ScopeWorx. We're an AI driven company that creates third party estimates to help contractors, insurance carriers, public adjusters get their claims settled faster.
Gotcha. So, you've been doing the software. uh, I think I think of it as a contractor, people wanna know, "Okay, you got this, what makes your software different?" Because, like, right now, everybody's probably jumping on the AI thing, everybody's probably going on ChatGPT and whatever else, Claude and Gemini and making up things, like, how do you stand out? What makes you different? What makes this effective?
Yeah, absolutely. So, great question. So, the normal carriers will use Exactimate or Cotality, the old Symbility product, and they're the two gold standards of estimates. Yes, you can go onto ChatGPT or to Google and search for what a square of shingles cost in a certain zip code. What our tech is doing is we have an API connection into ABC and SRS so we can find labor or we can find material in live time. And then we also track around 3,500 roofing contractors around the country every week, where we're actually pulling in what their live labor rates are. So that goes into our robot. Internally, we call it Marshall. So Marshall takes that data, reviews the roof drawing that the contractor provides, and then it's able to generate an estimate based on fair market value within about 6.5 seconds from the time that those inputs come in. The problem with doing it through a chat GBT or in a Google is the number that it's giving you is just theoretical, meaning in theory, this roof can be done for $20,000. What our product is saying is, hey, this roof is $20,000, and we have a network of 3 local contractors in every zip code that agree that this is the correct pricing model for that. It's kind of like if you get to the airport and you pull up your Uber app and you ask Uber for a drive to your hotel 15 miles away. It doesn't ask the drivers for their input on how much that ride costs. It simply sets the budget and has drivers that will show up. So our tech is doing the same thing. It's establishing the correct budget based on roof construction, material type, building code. It's establishing the budget for those items, and then it has roofers behind it that will do the work for that price as well.
Oh, gotcha. And where you've been testing? Like, do you have a test market, or did you pick a couple roofers out the blue and see what insurance companies accept? How are they responding to it?
Yeah, so absolutely. So we actually track 652 price zones around the country. Of those price zones, we've now tested everywhere except for Alaska and Hawaii. Not much weather happens out there, so they're not replacing a ton of roofs. So what we started doing is we started testing our data with roofers around the country, as well as directly with the insurance carriers. So we've done about 15,000 estimates in the last 3 months with different carriers, where they're sending us 1,000 here, 2,000 there. One of the large carriers sent us 3,500 estimates that they had already settled with contractors. So they sent us the address, and then we send them back the estimate so they could compare where they were settling their claims versus how much our tech said they should be settling the claim for. And what that's allowing is to prove the system that we're not trying to save the insurance company money. We're not trying to get the contractor overpaid. We're just trying to quickly find the correct price that the parties are already agreeing on. Because when you submit a claim today, you're going to send it to the adjuster. It's going to stay open on average 4 months. About 120, 130 days is the average a claim is open. Well, if you could take that 130 days and shrink it down to 2 emails to just send the carrier a fair market value price and move on, that's how you speed up the process for the homeowner and get them a better experience while your roofing company still makes the same margin each job.
Right. So for people who may not understand, what is the significance of the duration that a claim is open? Uh, Good. You want to tell them?
Yes, you bet. So as a contractor, cash flow is king. So the longer a claim is open and the longer a supplement is open, you don't know what the timeline of your cash is. So you'll go do the estimate, do the roof, and now you fight with the insurance carrier about a supplement for 30, 60 more days after you've already done the work. Well, now you're behind paying your supplier. You're behind paying your crew. You're behind paying your salesperson. So you're just constantly behind. So if you can use our product to establish fair market value upfront so that that fight with the carrier goes away, you already know where your cash flow is because there aren't any of those fights with the carrier throughout the supplement process.
Right. And for me, I think as a contractor, I mean, there's a lot. Just the shortening up the duration that it's open. I think it helps all three parties. Number one, the contractor that you're talking about right now. Um, there's a stigma in this industry that most contractors, they're scared of anybody who's been in business less than a year and a half or 2 years because that's where that 18 months or 24 months is where most people fail. I was speaking with somebody yesterday talking about why contractors fail, and the biggest part I believe was money flow and managing the money. So for people that don't know, when a contractor has a claim open, so say for example we get a $50,000 claim, we might get a $25,000 down payment, and we have to pay labor and material. We might be out of pocket, I don't know, call it $35,000. Of the 25, we're negative 10 on that claim until we collect the last portion or whatever. I'm just making up numbers, right? Then you multiply that times all your claims, and what happens is the contractor becomes a bank, and people don't talk about that. So contractors may have training in construction, insurance claims, but they're not having the financial literacy or management capabilities that can hurt a contractor. So for all the contractors out there, if you can shorten up your supplementing process and you go from once you get your paperwork, you can settle this thing quick. Well, then what happens is you don't have that whole backside of managing the insurance funds on the backside and say, we're waiting for the depreciation money to come in and waiting for it to clear, yada, yada. If you can shorten that up, your homeowner gets the money up front, then it feels more like a retail transaction as far as managing the money goes, right? Uh, and then as far as for the homeowner, their claims not drug open. They deal with somebody, they're knocking it out quick. Then there's not a whole bunch of back and forth. And for the insurance carrier, I think a lot of carriers view an open claim as an open threat because something can come out of nowhere, and that contractor can be like, "Oh yeah, well we realized that the flashing, we have to take this off, and now we got to replace the whole house." And then on top of that, while it's spinning, there's still the daily per diem that insurance companies pay with the open claim, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, there's there's a lot of there's a lot of bad blood and people thinking that the carriers really are trying to underpay and just to keep things open. And hey, hopefully, if we keep this claim open long enough, the contractor will just stop fighting us. With 15 years as a catastrophe adjuster, I was never once told by a carrier to slow walk a claim. I was never told to underpay a claim. I was told to pay the claim correctly based on paperwork I could justify.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is just get the carrier the correct paperwork so that they can justify payment in their file. A lot of independent adjusters or catastrophe adjusters that roofers are working with all the time, they live in this constant fear of doing something wrong and getting fired in an audit. It's a big deal. And these guys want to keep their jobs, just like roofers want to keep their jobs. So if we can now all just come together to get to the right number up front and everybody has the right paperwork, it's a massive win for the industry and it'll help everyone get back to the good spots.
Right. So we're thinking about this. So typically, a lot of the process goes from. By the way, do you hear feedback with me, or no? Are you good? Yeah. So then, a lot of the process goes from, say, once we have and we're not talking about with scope work. We're not talking about approving damage and picking up coverage. We're talking about getting the accurate price. Is that accurate?
So ScopeWorx doesn't get involved in getting the scope approved. So we're not getting into the fight of, hey, Mr. Adjuster, you need to pay for all of the damage. We only get involved in the actual price of that scope of work. So once the contractor and the adjuster have agreed that, yeah, the full roof needs to be replaced, great. Send us some data. We'll go through that in just a minute of how a submission looks. You send us your data, and then we send back an independent estimate based on those data points that we collect. We don't do any AI for reviewing photos or drone videos. We don't do any of that.
Right.
We just help establish price for the job.
Gotcha. And then so when we're getting into the point of talking about price, I think the go-to thing right now, there's two go-to things. There's appraisals and public adjusters, right? So that tends to be the process. I mean, as a contractor here in Minnesota, I know that myself and a bunch of my other contractor buddies all are in the mind frame that most claims are going to be probably going towards either primarily appraisal seems to be the hot topic. Where do you come in when those topics are when a contractor gets frustrated with the price, it's not right, and now they have to consider what do we do next? Where do you come in?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that we do with our contractors is we have a templated email that we'll happily send anybody who onboards. And what you want to do is just simply ask the adjuster. Send an email saying essentially, hey, we agree we have a difference in price. To avoid the appraisal process, would you agree to using a third party estimate? Once the carrier sends back or the adjuster sends back an email agreeing to a third party estimate, go to our website, scopeworx.com, click on the button to order a quote. And then once you get that paperwork, you send that to the adjuster as that third party estimate. Because that's the same thing that's going to happen in appraisal. In appraisal, both sides are going to hire their own independent person. Both sides are going to spend $500 to $1,500 to just hire their guy. And then somebody else is still going to pick the total price at the end of it. So to avoid those things, to avoid spending that money, avoid spending that time, simply ask the adjuster if they would agree to the third party estimate and then order ScopeWorx.
How often when you're asking them to just agree to a number, I mean, how often does that happen for people listening up? There's could be contractors or homeowners paying attention to this. How often does that happen, and why wouldn't they just agree on the number up front, right? And then what makes them agree to this number that they don't know? Like, for example, why wouldn't they say, "No, we're gonna send our people out there, we wanna spend our guys out there to look at it. I don't wanna agree to a number of somebody that I don't know." Or is there pre-established trust there? Like, where does that come from that the carrier says, "Yes, I will agree to this figure that we haven't seen yet from someone?"
Yeah, excellent series of questions. So, first off, if you and I both sat down at Xactimate right now and we had the exact same measurements, you and I are going to come up with two different estimates. So, what good does it do for two appraisers to also sit down and write estimates in the same software? Because they're still going to come to different numbers. So, that doesn't solve any of the problem. It doesn't solve any of the problem if one guy is writing in Cotality, the Symbility product, and another guy is writing in Xactimate because they're different databases as well. So what our tech is a neutral estimate tool that's really lives in the middle of those two softwares. When you compare our estimate to an Xactimate or a Cotality estimate, we're usually within about 1.5 to 2% of what an estimate would have been written in those softwares anyways. So we're within market reason.
With who touching it? Because, the original estimates are written in Xactimate, and then what happens is contractors or supplementers write it, and there's a big gap. So when you say you're within a certain margin of which number?
Yeah, so we're going to be within that number of, if you were to sit down and Xactimate and write up everything that roof needed, not adding the fluff, not adding that porta potty that we know nobody is ordering, not adding those those harnesses that people think are a one-time use and they're going to throw away.
And on the other side, not putting a per square price.
That's exactly right. And the carriers, they do it their way too. They use Xactimate, but then they enter a single line item saying $425, all trades included.
Yeah, and for us, that's a hard thing too, because people may not understand that. They may say, "Oh, yeah, well, it says a per square price." Well, that makes sense. Well, roof A could be 2 rectangles pushed together, and roof B can have a whole bunch of triangles with waste or different flashings and those sorts of things. So those per square prices do hurt us.
Exactly right. And those per squares don't take into account additional labor to do steep and high, additional labor to haul the shingles from the driveway up to the roof, which in a lot of markets, they don't do rooftop delivery. So there are a lot of moving parts that those flat rate prices don't cover. But if we're having an honest conversation, there are a lot of things that are being put in by supplementing teams that simply aren't valid, because the contractor, he would never ask for those, but those third-party supplementers, they do try to maximize the claim payout, some would say.
Yeah, I did. I remember one time I used a supplemental company, and you see the same adjusters out. I had great experience with this adjuster one time. I showed up to the house one time. I remember I tried this new supplemental company. He's like, "Oh, we're great. We do this, we do that." I'm like, "All right, I'll give him a shot." I gave him like 3 or 4 claims. And when I showed up to the house, that adjuster was standing there with her hands on her hips, and she was shaking her head at me like she's my mom. And she was like, "You used one of those companies, did you?" I was like, "What?" She was like, "Mike, don't do that." I'm like, "What happened?" She's like, "Did you read your estimate?" She's like, "Safety goggles, gloves?" She's like, I was like, "Dude, I let them handle it." She was like, "No." She's like, "Mike, your estimate is hanging on the break room wall." I was like, "With my logo?" She said, "Yes." I was like, "Take it down."
Yeah, and it's really hard. And one of the reasons that our tech is more and more valid and being adopted by more and more carriers, public adjusters, and appraisers,
Yeah.
and even law firms. We have some of the largest law firms in the country now are using ScopeWorx
Mhm.
as the product that they pull in, just to verify if their contractor even is giving them a reasonable estimate. So the reason for that is our tech isn't used just in insurance claims. Our tech is used in the solar transaction. Our tech is used in the real estate transaction. In both of those industries, about 30% of the time, somebody needs to replace the roof when they sell the house. Or when they install solar, they need to install a roof so that solar panels can go on it. So because our tech isn't used in just insurance, it really has found that sweet spot of fair market value, where it's this hybrid between insurance payout and retail roofing. So the pricing is very stable in each market. Again, it's updated every Friday with new labor. As you probably would agree, labor and materials are actually pretty stable, unless there's 2 or 3 storms behind each other. Okay. Then we take those adjustments every Friday as they come in. Or when the supply yards, they give us 60 days notice that there's a price change coming. Great. Our tech is already built in with API to the supply yard. So the moment that those increases happen, they happen on our software too. Unlike the softwares that the insurance companies are using that are often 60 to 90 days behind to actually reflect that 7% increase that the supplier did a couple months ago. It takes Xactimate and totality months to work that in.
Right. Have you had any, kickback or pushback of, like, say, if somebody was using Xactimate or Symbility or something else, and, Yeah. What's the? I'm sure you have. Everybody has kickback or pushback. But like, what? How much are you seeing?
As far as kickback,
Yeah.
very little, because what we've been doing is we've been proactively beta testing with the carriers. So they've become familiar with what our estimates look like and with what our pricing looks like. And since we're not that far out of bounds with Xactimate or Cotality, they're already expecting our pricing. We've even started working with different managed repair programs, which do get a lot of bad press. But even in the managed repair programs, they found that our pricing is actually more fair and stable to the contractor and to the carrier. And if we can all figure out how to make it fair for all sides, then nobody has to take a bath having lower and lower pricing.
Hmm, that's interesting. So just walk me through the process. Contractor gets their scope, the scope of work approved. They see the price. The price is not where they like it. They At that point, do they continue working with attempting to talk to the insurance company, or do they go directly to your system?
So at that point, great. So you're the contractor.
Yeah.
You and the carrier have agreed, yes, the full roof needs to be replaced. The carrier sends you or the homeowner the estimate. You look at it and laugh because you know it's 30% lower than what you needed. At that point, you send an email back to the adjuster. This is where you're asking for permission to be like, hey, can we do a third party estimate? And let's just agree that when we send that in, that will be our scope price. That's where the carriers are then saying, hey, absolutely, send me a third party. So our only real competitor in this space is another group called Roof Marketplace. Great group of guys, great technology. We started about 5 months different from when they started. The difference between our companies are only the carrier can order one of their reports. Nobody knows where that math comes from. They ask 3 local roofers to provide an estimate. And then you, as the contractor, you're just kind of stuck with whatever the carrier picks. So, what we're doing is we allow anyone to order our estimates. So, instead of letting the carrier dictate the next move and having that be their third party estimate, you, as the contractor, supply a third party estimate instead.
So I'm just curious. Because I've never done that in all my time. I've never contacted the insurance company and said, "Hey, can we do this?" Um,
Question, what percentage of the time do you think the insurance company asks your homeowner to get another estimate?
if I had to guess, I would say it's usually only been on larger claims, and if I had to guess, from what I know, I would probably say less than 20%. I could be wrong, but that's all I know about maybe.
So in your circle, we'll call it 20% of the time.
Okay,
Others that I talk to, it's closer to that 40 to 50% of the time,
okay.
where the adjuster gets your estimate and then tells the homeowner, hey, I got Mike's estimate. I need you to get a second estimate and send it in to me. So now what the carrier adjuster is doing is now they're introducing conflict into this process, because now your homeowner has to go, you have to have another roofer come out to your contract.
Alright,
Now there's that potential of the homeowner going with the new roofer.
right.
So instead of that, use this as that second roofing estimate that carrier is asking for.
Mhm. So is that what you're saying is that most roofers are saying at about half the time, they're finding out, and it makes me wonder, does it probably happens more than that's why I said about 20% is probably all I know, because 'cause I'm sure it probably happens more. Usually I only hear about it on larger ones, but if you're saying about half the time.
Well, think about all those people that you provided an estimate to. You started working with the insurance company, and then they just ghosted you.
Mhm,
They still got their roof done by somebody,
right.
probably that other contractor that the carrier asked them to get an estimate from.
Mm,
The roof still got done. You just didn't get to do it.
dirty.
It's very dirty.
It's so is it is that common for the contractor to ask for an independent estimate and to agree to the number before it comes back to that? Because that's the thing where that my mind kind of goes to the most. Oh, okay, cool. Well, asking for a third party estimate, I rarely do it, but it doesn't seem that far fetched. But asking them to agree to it, and we get to pick the person. So is your relationship, did it start off with the contractors or did it start off with carriers to establish your own credibility so that contractors could choose you?
Yeah, sure. So it actually started in both contractor and carrier at the same time.
Okay.
About 4 years ago is when we started actually having estimates going into the live environment. Started having contractors that were recommended to us by the supply yards and the carriers that I had worked for in the past. So we really started beta testing with both parties at the same time. Right now, we have a lawsuit that we're involved in where both lawyers, the lawyer for the building owner and the lawyer for the insurance carrier, both agreed up front. Whatever ScopeWorx comes back at is the price that we will be settling for. And both lawyers have a history of knowing our product and already knowing that those numbers are fair. So what we want to do, and as people can see across the screen here, there is a coupon code from our website where if a guy wants to go and just test it out to see what our numbers look like compared to what they normally settle their claims for, if they want to use that code, we're happy to give them two estimates totally for free. That way they can compare them to what they've already been historically settling claims for. This morning, I actually asked you to send over a couple of addresses so that my team could prep just the drawing. Do you mind if I share a screen? I want to kind of show guys how the tech works.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Do you have that link?
Just a moment here. Let's see if you can see my screen.
Okay, let's go ahead and bring it in. One second here. Voila.
Okay. So this is scopeworx.com, just our main landing page. Please, please look at it, read about what we're doing. So up here in the top, order quote. We've tried to make it as simple as possible. So the requester information, that's going to be the person filling this in. So we're going to say that Mike is the one turning this estimate in. Mike, what's your best email address, if you don't mind sharing it?
It's mholmes, M for Mike, HOLMES, at myrepairking.com.
Okay, so then it asks, is there insurance involved? Yes or no? If you say yes, it just asks you for carrier and claim information. Our software does not send estimates to anyone other than the person making the request. So even when we ask for the carrier's email and the homeowner's email, our system does not send them anything. So we'll just skip that part.
Gotcha.
So we're going to call this Mike Testerson. Let's use one of the addresses that you sent me earlier today. We'll use this one right here. All right. And then this is where we want the contractor to tell us a little bit of information about the house.
Okay.
We track these standard material types just like the insurance or companies are tracking.
3-tab.
So this was a 3-tab. Thank you. Did this house need new plywood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
1 layer.
Is the
Who's cool?
2-story? Great. Thank you. How many layers?
1 layer.
1 layer. So here, this is where we ask the contractor to just upload us the measurements. If you guys don't have the measurements, totally fine. My team will do a drawing internally. So over here, we're going to grab the data file for that house. We do have the option, we've integrated in with a great partnership at Name That Shingle. People wanted to add a Name That Shingle report as well. They can click this and then we'll send off the
Let me ask you with that, how have you been finding that insurance companies receive those because I know the people with that company. I like them. I think they're a great company and they're definitely on it. And for me as a contractor, I think they provide great value. However, I think I've had the last one was down in Florida. Progressive didn't want to use it. I've had two companies. I've had people receive them, but I've had two companies push back and say we don't accept that.
Yeah, and it's hard. They're a growing company. They're a really cool technology. They've got some pretty exciting stuff coming up next year. I'll let John
Yeah,
that out to the industry. They are getting accepted more and more.
great.
But I mean, that's the same technology for even roof measurements.
Yeah,
Everyone it used to only accept Eagle View. That was the only thing that carriers used to accept.
yeah. They should accept their reports are great. There's there.
They're getting there.
Yeah.
So here we're going to go with the code set up for your team. Okay. So for the first two reports for an email address, it'll make them free.
So they just saved $450. Like Crow, they saved almost $1,000.
That's right.
And you're gonna make money, and you're gonna save time.
So what we're doing now is I can actually see on my other screen, I can see the submission that came in. I can now see that documents are being created.
Okay.
So here,
You said this happening in live time. It only takes seconds, huh?
yeah, so I can actually already see if I scroll to the bottom of mine for the address at 356 Bates Avenue. It's calculating currently the plywood.
Okay.
Maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, this seems like a really dope and exciting. I'm happy for you, man. This sounds dope. This sounds great. The key thing is it being accepted to the carriers, which seems like you've got on lock. That's like that. Once you got over that hump, it just seems like
So at this point, it's out of our system. You should have it in your email here in just a second. We can't control how long that process takes.
okay.
It might just be a matter of
Do I need to do it here? Can we upload it from your screen or what?
I can't see the document on mine. We'll need you to upload it in your email.
Okay, let me just check on my phone here, see if I get something. Oh, personal. Bum, bum, bum. Wait to see. Not yet on my phone. How many are you guys processing a day, a week, or a month right now? Do you know?
Yeah, right now, so we're at about 350 estimates a day.
Holy cow! Calm down.
It's growing every day. We're getting a lot of traction. It's pretty exciting.
Where are you getting it primarily from?
More and more from the carriers are actually adopting it pretty rapidly.
Okay, now here's the big question that all the roofers want to know. What are the approximate price margins? If you want to answer that, you don't have to.
It's tricky. It changes by market.
You could say a range.
Well, I think in Minnesota, I think labor material plus around 35%
Okay.
normal is. But here in a second, when you hopefully get that email from the Google system, you'll be able to see.
Which one did it go to? It went to the email I just gave you, Homes, yeah.
Yep.
Let me double check a different source. See if my phone's just lagging.
Stop sharing. That way, when you get the estimate, you can share it and we can walk through what it looks like.
Okay. Let me check my stuff, man. Let me check it. Check undo. Didn't go yet. That's quite all right. That's all right. Check. Ooh, boom, shakalaka. It's the time you get out and go sell another deal. We'll do it downtime. See, logging in a different way, doing my authenticator.
mean, if you want, I can share it. I've got it here.
Oh yeah, please do.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have it yet.
No problem. Sometimes the internet gremlins don't like to share things.
Stinking gremlins.
So here's what an estimate looks like if you're able to see it.
Oh,
So on our estimates, the information that we collect originally is all to fill out the top of this form so that it fills out the adjuster's information, the homeowner's information, the address. We have our own calculator that actually reviews the complexity of that roof drawing that was sent to us. A lot of times people just like to use 5, 10, 15% waste factors. Well, in this building, probably had some really big valleys.
yeah. Or
Ours required 21.41% waste. So we really dial in to make sure that you as the roofer really know how much material is needed. We do break up our estimates by coverage A and coverage B. So if this had a main house and a detached garage, that detached garage is going to be on the second portion of the estimate. We break up the estimate by labor, material, and sales tax. That way it's really easy for the adjuster to see what they need to apply depreciation to. And those couple of questions we asked, how many layers does it need new plywood?
Yep.
So here, let's say you didn't know. You're a sales guy that doesn't know how many layers there are. That's fine. We proactively tell on the estimate what that is going to be if a supplement were to come up. And then on the second page of the estimate, this is where we actually start showing our math calculations. This is where we say how many linear feet of starter, how many linear feet of ridge, that type of thing. So that's where we break down our estimates. So on this project, it looks like we had a fairly straightforward 3-tab shingle. Looks like it was a pretty steep roof, somewhere between 10 and 12 pitch.
absolutely.
And high charge. It also identified on your drawing flat section of the roof. Was there a flat section?
There's a front porch that's flat.
Okay, very good. So with waste, that's about 3 squares. And then you said that we needed new plywood on the building. So all in all, our estimate came in at a total of $37,893 for this project. Is this one that you already built?
This is one that we're about to build, and this is those are great numbers.
Do you know? Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. And what we're trying to do is just make it reasonable. I would bet if I sat down and wrote this in an Xactimate as an old adjuster, we're just going to be a couple $100 difference from this. So if this estimate can save 3 months of back and forth, that's a huge win for everyone involved. Let me show one other technology that our company developed that more and more roofers are using. So this is a product that we developed a few months ago. We've been having great success with it. People are really enjoying it, especially in the real estate and solar world. And we know there's other products out there that can do very similar things. This is what we call Weather Recall, weatherrecall.com. It's a totally free service to roofers. And it's really what it talks like. It's a weather app. So what we're trying to do is make it so that people in the driveway have access to free data. Yes, there are apps out there where you can have a monthly subscription and you can pay $10 to $30 per report just to know what the weather was. But this is an app that we developed that everybody can use totally for free. So let's just check one out. That address that you gave me of 356 Bates Avenue, St. Paul. Here we are. So it looks like that's the building. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're just going to go here. And this takes 10-ish seconds. And what's happening is we're now reviewing 3 different publicly available weather platforms. And we're looking for the last 18 months to see what type of significant weather events happened.
Right. My first question on this one is that do the insurance companies accept your data?
They do, absolutely. Because we are using the same data that they're using. So our main source for this data is the National Weather Service.
Okay.
The carriers do not disagree with what the federal government's weather reporting says. So, on this report, we're identifying 16 weather events of significance in the last 18 months, 8 wind, 8 hail events. So, we show that on September 20th at this address, there was 2-inch hail. Does that sound about right?
Not sure about that. I think this one was probably July 27th.
Okay.
Or is that?
July 28th, which is not uncommon for it to be the day after when something gets reported.
Oh, July 26th up there. There you go.
Great. July 26th. So July 26th, there was 1.8-inch hail at this house or at this building. So that's our identifier there. It looks like there was also some wind that happened right around the same date. So it's probably a thunderstorm that lasted for a couple of days. So here, this is what our PDF looks like. It identifies the house, gives the information about the house. And then this actually breaks down the different weather events, their size, their wind speed, and what sources they were found on. Next page.
Just to say, like, I have to say the obvious.
Yeah.
I think that there was 2-inch hail in that area.
Sure.
Now, what I've noticed throughout the years with the like say NOAA, right? It'll say MPX radar. I have noticed that sometimes it might say a number like 2-inch hail, and what I've found that sometimes that there might be a cluster of hail. There might be 2 1-inch hails that are sticking together, something that comes down, and then obviously sometimes we find hail we see hail certain places, and it might hail in this section of the neighborhood, but not over here. So, for example, as me and I know many other contractors do the same thing. We go out there and look for hail, and we read the bill, and we're like, "Where's that at?" Right?
Excellent points. So the hard part with hail is it is mostly based off of Doppler radar.
Okay.
Doppler radar is measuring things that are still in the atmosphere. So it is measuring that there was 2-inch hail, maybe 30,000 feet up.
Okay.
And it is saying that the environment was conducive to making 2-inch hail.
Okay.
Did it fall out of the sky that way? Don't know. But that's the best that National Weather Service gives everybody for reporting. The other thing is we've dialed this down to within 3 miles of the location. But that's how all of the other weather services do it too. They have a range where it's 5 to 10 miles within the location. But what this is saying is statistically, at this location, there was a Doppler reading of 2-inch. But we're not using that one anyways for your storm. We are using that one that you did confirm of 1.8-inch.
2 different sources.
The 2 different sources for this report, let's see which ones these pulled up. So this one's going to use a group called Visual Crossing, and another here, this NOAA is the report. NOAA is going to be the National Weather Service.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's the report that we're using. Again, it's just a free service if the guys out there want to confirm weather. But really, with 1.8-inch hail where you're at, you don't need to confirm it. You can just take a photo of the damaged roofing.
All right. Yeah, I think that tends to be the biggest issue in our industry is the weather reporting stuff that talks about the different hail, right? I know many guys that have 4 or 5 services because they're like, whatever ones are out there, they get them all.
That's right.
Because, they're all different, and even, like, for example, there's been times with, say, Hail Recon, I've got Hail Recon, there's been times with them where I've went out to an area, and I've looked at the area, and I'm like, 1.5, where? And I'll go to another area, and it says half-inch hail, and it's everything's destroyed, and I'm like, "Oh, they were wrong."
That's right.
In my younger days, I used to go out there and contact them and say, "Hey, guys, you got it wrong, there's 2-inch hail over here," and then I realized how stupid that was because they update the map to tell everybody, so I just quietly keep that to myself.
Just keep, like my uncle used to say, keep it secret, keep it safe.
Right? Exactly. So, alright, cool. So you guys got so you guys basically have a free weather app, service where somebody could type something in all over the country, see where some storm damage is, and then you're submitting your estimates. That estimate that you showed was higher. Can you do the Florida one for fun too? Are we talking?
I haven't. I mean, I drew the Florida ones up. I haven't processed them yet. Just a second.
Okay, yeah, that'd be interesting. I just want to see a different region, a different market. That one's tile also. Um, but yeah, that one was the one that you gave was much higher than what the insurance company said. I won't say the insurance company's name, but it was much higher. And
And what is do you, I mean, so I'm higher than where your carrier is at.
you're higher than where that carrier was.
Where am I compared to your estimate? Do you know that
For our
information?
estimate, that's a very good question. Let me double check that really quick. I checked theirs and I thought about checking ours, but I did not do that yet. So let's figure out where you were compared to our estimate. Boom, boom, boom.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to put in the Florida address.
Gotcha.
While we're doing this, what type is it? What type? Oh, is it?
That was tile.
Clever.
So here, I'll tell you that our estimate on that one. So the carrier came in at about 15,000.
Okay.
Yeah, our estimate was 44,000.
Okay.
Their estimate did not have OSB in there either, so that's will help with explaining the huge jump. But so you guys were what 10, 12, like 10, 15, something like that, for percent lower than ours, which I anticipated that to be, yours sounds very accurate to me.
Because what we're wanting to do is they're at 15, you're at 44. In reality, you're not going to get 44.
100%.
Would you be happy at that 37.8 that my team came up with?
Put a red bow on it, let's go.
That's right. And that's what our goal is. Our goal is, hey, we get us to the right number fast. So on this Florida one, is it a clay or a concrete tile?
Concrete.
Thank you. Does it need new decking?
No,
Okay. Building eve height, 1, 2-story or mixed?
mixed.
Thank
It's
you.
yeah.
How many layers? 1 layer.
Correct.
It's Florida. It's always 1 layer.
You're right.
So this, we're going to have a drawing uploaded. Let's see. This was 5914. Okay. Did that first one ever come to your email?
Oh, give me 1 sec. It did not. Let me check my junk.
Yeah, check.
I was checking my junk on live, on video. Not allowed to do that in some states. It did not come. Let me see here. Marcus hers or check my junk. Yeah, maybe we had a typo or something. You can fix that later.
We'll fix that, but I've got it here. So just so you know, while this is processing the actual PDF, I show an estimate, write this one down, of $145,577.55. Let me grab the PDF and we'll give it a look.
Whoa, not this one.
All right. Can you see this estimate?
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. Just so you know, the carrier came in at 124. Ours was, call it 170. So if you're at 150,
Yeah, we're at 145.5 is where we're at for this roof.
let me add this to the scene so we can see here.
So here's what we've got. We've got a pretty standard clay tile or concrete tile roof. It calculated it at 55.73 squares before waste. Gave it just under 18% waste to get us to 65, just under 66 squares. It looks like we had 23 squares of 2-story. and that came with a tax rate of 6.5%. The taxes we do apply specifically to the address. We don't use a flat, we don't use a flat sales tax. It's all specific.
How do you figure in other things, like, for example, in Florida, one of the things that people are dealing with are things like, have you heard of hurricane traps?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How do you figure stuff like that in there?
So what's happening in the background is when this address came into the system,
Okay.
also doing a building code review.
Oh, wow.
In Florida, as you know, the closer you get to the water, the more stringent the building code gets to. So we're actually applying the different line items that are required by the different code.
Is there a way that we could toggle that on or off? Like, for example, we have 2 houses next door to each other. One doesn't need this hurricane straps, and the other one does?
So you're talking hurricane straps to the rafter, to the wall?
Yeah, like, so, for example, say one already has that, and the other one needs it.
So, okay, thank you for the clarification. So ScopeWorx is only doing the roof surface itself. So any work like the hurricane straps, so actually strapping the rafter to the top plate, you would still prepare an estimate for those trades. Say if you were doing windows or if you were doing fascia metal, our software doesn't do those generally because those aren't a fight. The roof surface is the fight.
Got you.
The carrier, they know they need to pay for those other things.
Got you.
And I would assume your experience is the carriers don't fight you on those other things.
Yeah.
It's this really big, expensive $145,000 roof. And I would bet if your $170,000 roof involved that retrofit, I bet we're spot on if we're looking at just the roof itself without those retrofit straps.
Yeah, no, this is impressively accurate.
Good. We did a test for we'll just say a member of the C-suite in a very large supply company. We didn't know he was submitting his own home. It was about 150 squares of tile roofing in Florida. And our estimate was $50 different than what his carrier had recently written him a check for. So,
Wow.
yeah, 50 bucks in 150 squares.
Yeah.
Call it a win.
Yeah, you had my other buddy, over in, Dallas. He said, Anthony said he had his roof. You checked out his roof, and it was the same thing, and he says that you're super spot on to what the insurance companies had, so that's pretty dope.
So, I mean, and again, we're not trying to save the insurance company money, and we're not trying to get the roofer to do the work for less. We're just trying to get you guys to the correct number faster. And on these 2 blind tests that we did for your own projects, they both came in at numbers you would happily go perform the work for.
Absolutely. That's no exaggeration. Works.com. I was just, sending you an email to see you had it. See, Mike. No, but that's great. Yeah, no, I mean, you passed my test, you know. We have a shingle roof here in Minnesota, and we have a concrete tile one in the, slow state of Florida. And for the guys that are down in Florida too, I mean, how soon could you request this in the process?
Oh, I mean, we've got people that are requesting it while they're still in the home. Florida does have laws about having to give an estimate, I believe, within 3 days of signing a contract. So this estimate does fulfill that state requirement to make sure that your contract doesn't become invalid. But again, we've got people that are requesting it in the driveway. We've got people that are requesting it when the carrier gives any sort of a pushback and there's a dispute. We have a very large law firm in Florida. They have now started requesting estimates on every project that they do. Yeah, I don't think I'm out of NDA yet, but very, very large.
No, you're good. I mean, it sounds great. I mean, if you got in my book, if you're a carrier, if you have all these carriers, accepting it and coming back, I mean, you checked all the boxes. You have carriers and lawyers. Those are the top 2. After that, trickles down everybody else, contractors, PAs, that sort of thing.
One of the things we haven't talked about as well is inside, if anybody here uses Hover, you can actually go to Hover in your settings and you can actually turn on the ScopeWorx integration Our tech is fully integrated with Hover, where you just simply toggle it on. And now after you take your 8 pictures inside of your app, it asks you 4 questions: material type, layers, how many stories, does it need new plywood? And then you don't have to go to our website to order anything. It all happens inside of the Hover app. And then it will email you back the drawing and the estimate.
Oh, that's cool. We got to get you integrated on pitch case too. Yeah, that's dope.
If you want to see
See that? Yeah, I will. So that's dope. So at that point, man, what are you gonna? What are you? Are you the threat to all future appraisals, or what? Well, not quite. So appraisals will discuss some scope, right? So you're not wiping out appraisals, are you?
Oh, and we're not trying to wipe anybody out. We're not trying to wipe out Exactimate. We're not trying to wipe out public adjusters or appraisal. We just want accurate information.
Cool.
That's all we want. And if we can help people speed up the process, then they can do more claims in the same amount of time. So public adjusters and appraisers that are now using our reports, what they're finding is a lot of times they don't want to do anything with a residential claim because it's too small. It doesn't make them enough money.
Right.
A lot of public adjusters don't even want to touch residential. Well, if you can use our tool as the estimate and now take out most of that time you have to spend fighting about it, well, as a public adjuster, now you can be profitable on a residential file faster.
Right. What, and I don't know. I was wondering earlier, does this speed up the lawyer's process?
For sure. Absolutely. We've had several report back to us that they will use ours as pre-lawsuit, so pre-litigated claims, where they just turn it in as third party, very much to take that position of, hey, here's third party. It's not our contractor. Let's agree to this number instead of moving forward with litigation.
Oh, I love it. What about flat roofs?
Yeah, so flat roofs. If it is a flat roof residential, absolutely, the tech can do it. If it is flat roof commercial, so a big Walmart or a big shopping center, a mechanic, we cannot do those projects yet. The surface is really easy. I can tell you how much the TPO is or the mod bid is. I can tell you what that rubber costs. It's that 8 to 14 inches that's below it that nobody ever does a core sample of that is really tricky for AI to do. So for now, we don't do commercial. But as far as commercial inside of HOA or commercial at an apartment complex, absolutely. If it's standard construction,
Okay.
our technology does it.
Gotcha.
Big commercial flats, we don't touch them yet.
But do you think it's coming?
It's coming. We're in testing for it right now. We've recently finished testing for siding. So right now through our technology, you can do roofs, gutters, and solar panels, which are the 3 biggest arguments.
Detach and reset solar panels or what?
Detach, reset.
Okay.
And then here we've already finished testing and we're now rolling out. Here in about 5 weeks, we will have siding available where you'll be able to walk through a series of questions about type of siding, get us some measurements on it, and then it will produce you an estimate for siding replacements.
Wow. Do you think just curious, will Windows ever come for something like this or no?
We're actually working together with Name That Shingle. And by Q2 of next year, we will have Windows. The hard part about Windows, even as an old adjuster, whenever I was writing a window claim, I would always tell the homeowner or the contractor, hey, when you get your actual estimate, send it to me so I can review it. Because Exactimate, it doesn't have a lot of questions about windows. Cool. It's a 3040 vinyl single slider. All right. Well, there's 300 of those that you have an option for, and they're all different prices as a contractor. So even as an adjuster, I would always wait for that estimate to come in, and then you just use that estimate. What we're doing with Name That Shingle or Name That Surface is really, they have a very dialed in database of what those windows cost down to the very specific window. So we'll be able to do that in Q2 of next year.
Gotcha. That's dope.
Yeah.
Man, everything sounds dope. It sounds great. It sounds like it's great. Fine. Congratulations on being the guy doing it behind it. maybe one day you'll fly me out on your jet next year.
Come on out to Salt Lake. It's always a good time if you're in Minnesota. You're used to it being cold.
Yeah, right. I mean, Salt Lake City, Utah's always been on my top list of places where I was like my bucket list. I was like, oh, I want to go to Utah.
It's
Said no one ever.
a weird place, but a good place.
I bet. People definitely think the same thing about Minnesota. They're like, why do you live here? There's reasons. There's a lot of reasons to leave too. No plan. No, but that's dope, man. No, appreciate having you. At this point, man, my personal opinion, I like it. I mean, I got to see 2 live tests here, 2 different markets, 2 different materials, and both times your estimate was right in between the insurance company and the insurance, or excuse me, and our estimate. You're right. It was right in the middle. It was accurate, um, and most importantly, I believe fair. Which I think is dope, and then you got the support of the adjusters and the lawyer, so it's like, why not or have contractors fall in? And, anybody that's watching this or still watching the video, you see down there's the website. Yeah, Curtis has been. Do you say Kurt or Curtis? Which one do you like better?
It's fine.
Yeah, I don't like the extra syllable. Kurt has been kind enough to give you 2 free scopes if you just type in the code free scope down there. Tell your friends, I'm gonna try it. Why not? The scopes are $450, and for me, when I first heard the number, I thought I was like, oh, my eyebrows went up a little bit, but it really makes sense. You're saving time, you're saving money, you're getting your accuracy, you're closing things, we're getting higher turnaround time. I mean, the scopes just make sense. I do it every time, and I think it's going to be something that'll probably be implemented just as a part of our system, just for overall efficiency in business in all aspects. So it just sounds really like a win. I'm excited to try some. Thanks for the code. I can try mine as well, and I will be spreading the word. And if anybody has any questions or need to get a hold of you, I'm sure your contact information right there on ScopeWorx, so I can.
ScopeWorx is if you just hit contact, it goes directly to me.
Great, there you go. Well, thanks for having us, man. Thanks for the time, and sorry about the delay in the beginning. I appreciate your patience.
No, it's
And, yeah, man, and then we'll talk to you some other time, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Mike.
It's the king.